my name's Alana Bray. I'm the owner, head teacher, and yoga therapist here at Yoga Balance, Carlsbad Village. We're a Vinyasa Yoga and Yoga Therapy studio. The first posture I'm going to be talking about in a series of posture clinics we'll be posting regularly on YouTube is Chatturanga. Chatturanga is a very common posture in Vinyasa Yoga. It's also a very commonly misdone posture in Vinyasa Yoga. I will be demonstrating a Chatturanga, my version of it, that's incredibly supportive and strengthening to your upper body. And I will also demonstrate ways that the Chatturanga is misdone and unsupported, and how to evolve your Chatturanga so that it's strengthening to your upper body, as well as modifications that you can do if it's not right for you just yet. So here we go. Okay, so Chatturanga is done from a high plank position where your shoulders are over your wrists, your hips aren't too high and they're not too low, so you're not collapsing, and you are looking forward about 3 feet so that the head is supportive and the neck is supporting, so the head's not just hanging in its own weight. The lower belly is lifted up inside and your ribs are drawing in towards your back. Shifting forward a tad, as you exhale, you're going to bend your elbows along the side and lower your body down halfway. And then inhale, pull your chest through for an upward facing dog. And then back as you exhale, pressing with your hands, using your lower belly to a downward facing dog. So Chatturanga is often commonly misdone because people starting a yoga practice don't have the necessary upper body strength to do it properly, and the pace of a vinyasa class is pretty fluid and they just want to get to the next step. So they lower themselves down a little unconsciously, just basically unaware of their ability and structure, stability mechanisms inside. So usually what happens when someone is collapsing into the posture, I'll do it from the front so you can see. Their belly is not engaged, and they're probably not doing it on a proper exhale breath to engage the belly. As they lower, they just want to get down, but they don't have the upper body strength, so their elbows start to go out to the side, their shoulders start to go up by the ears, and their hips start to hang until eventually they're just in up dog. There's not really much transition. Noticing the shoulders are really up by the ears, the elbows are locked, and there's not much support from the muscles. It's pretty much all in the joints. An important thing to remember about Chatturanga is that you want to bend with your elbows in towards the body. So from a high plank position, you want to lower yourself so the elbows actually go in and kiss the rib cage, and the shoulders never dip below the elbows, and then you pull yourself through, broadening the collarbones, keeping the shoulders relaxed away from the ears. You have a nice spacious feeling in your front side as you transition. Doing it on an exhale breath is important because it engages the core. The way a proper exhale is done is that when you're lowering yourself, your body towards the floor like a plank, you're actually backing your ribs more inside your body, supporting the spine so it doesn't sway. And at the final end of the exhale, you engage your lower belly, lift it up and in towards yourself. Keeping the elbows in is another way to help the shoulder girdle and keep the shoulder nice and supported, so the shoulders stay actually in external shoulder rotation rather than rounding forward and dipping low and by your ears. So keeping in mind as I demonstrate this again, on the exhale breath, as I back my ribs away from the floor and keep my shoulders in external shoulder rotation. A couple modifications you can do for this posture is, one, instead of lowering your knees, which is a very common modification, which I'll talk about in a second, is from the high plank, just bending the elbows slightly. As yoga, you want to master each part before you move forward, And you can even break a posture down and master each millimeter before you move forward. So even in your Chatturanga, if you're in high plank and you're stabilizing your high plank and you just bend your elbows a millimeter, an inch, and still feel very supported, you can practice that way for days, for weeks, and maybe when you feel confident in your muscular system, you can bend your elbows a little bit more, maybe another millimeter, maybe another inch, and just build from there until it evolves that way. So I will show you how that goes, and you just regularly transition to downward dog like you normally would. So here you can even just bend your elbows like this. It might not look like much, but I'm still using my muscles. They're firing. I can feel my biceps, my triceps on, my deltoids, a little bit of my pecs, they're working. And my belly's in to really support the hips and the back. And then inhale, just float forward, pulling your chest through your arms, coming to the tops of your feet for your upward facing dog. Another modification you can do is lowering to the knees. And from a high plank position, you just lower your knees down. Your shoulders stay over your wrists, looking forward, and as you exhale, still bend your elbows along the sides, keep the shoulders in external rotation, the ribs backing away from the floor, and lower yourself all the way to the ground. And instead of coming up for up dog, just come up for a cobra. Elbows 90-degree angles, lifting your chest up, spreading your fingers. So, 4 main things about Chatturanga posture. 1, the posture is done on an exhale breath. Exhale breath because it knits your ribs cage together. You hug your lower belly in. 2, which leads me to number 2, you have your core engaged. The core engaged so that the load isn't taken on the shoulders. When we don't have our core working for us, our shoulders have to assume the load, the strength. So we want to engage our core so we can keep our shoulder girdle nice and broad away from the ears. Number 3, when you lower yourself like a plank with your elbows bent in towards your sides, almost as if they're brushing against the side ribs. Number 4, your shoulders never dip below your elbows. They stay above or perfectly in line at the most with your elbows, and your elbows never bending more than a 90-degree angle, so you're never lowering yourself to less than a 90-degree angle. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, you can also visit my website, yogaboundforlife.com. Thank you very much.